Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Univar Solutions Flex Forward Plant-Based Meat Alternatives webinar. It's a pleasure to have everyone join us today. My name's Victoria Black. I'm an application development specialist for food ingredients at Univar Solutions, responsible for the Northeast region in North America. It's my pleasure to lead you through today's webinar. As I'm sure everyone attending knows, the spotlight on plant-based ingredients has really taken center stage. And now we see that it's influencing consumers' purchase intent for everyday items. Fueled by the demand for better-for-you foods, food manufacturers can elevate their brands and regain market share by incorporating more plant-based ingredients, capitalizing on front-of-pack claims and nutrition profiles, focusing on texture improvement opportunities, and delivering indulgent flavor profiles. This webinar explores the trends of the plant-based ingredients and walks you through how to formulate plant-based meat alternatives while highlighting key ingredients that Univar Solutions can support you with for new product development. During today's session, you'll be able to submit questions via the chat box feature. The way you go about this is simple. First, click on the question box as indicated in this diagram here. And then in the bottom box, you can see where you can type your question. It's important to remember that only the presenter will see the question, and the sender will be anonymous to all other attendees. You can submit your questions at any time throughout the presentation, but we'll dedicate a specific question and answer period at the end of the webinar. This is a quick look at some of the topics we'll touch on today during the presentation. At Univar Solutions, we're of course serious about safety, so we'll kick off the webinar with a safety share before we get into introducing today's presenters. We'll then touch on plant-based market trends, and once we understand what the plant-based market looks like today, we'll then take a look at what ingredients are essential to creating a plant-based meat alternative. Lastly, we'll walk you through how to create a plant-based burger using some of our key texturizing solutions. And then at the end, we'll open up live Q&A and answer some of the questions that you've submitted throughout the presentation. At the end of the webinar, we hope that you'll have the insight and know-how to elevate your products in the plant-based meat alternative space and make some noise with new product launches or renovations. Our safety share today focuses on kitchen knife safety. Some tips to safely work with knives include maintaining the sharp edge of your knife through periodic sharpening. A sharp knife will help you have more control when you're cutting your food. When you are using a knife to cut food, make sure that you're cutting food on top of a stable surface like a cutting board. If you notice that your cutting board moves around a little bit while you're cutting, place a non-slip mat between the cutting board and the counter for added stability. When you're cutting, it's important to keep the knife blade positioned away from your body. In this way, you can proactively prevent any potential cuts that could happen. If you're working with oddly shaped food, try to place the food on the flattest side when you are slicing in order to add more stability to the product and prevent any potential cuts from happening. When you look at storing your knives, it's important to store the knives in a rack or a knife sheath. This is particularly important if you need to reach into a drawer and grab a knife. By using these types of storage solutions, you can be sure that you're grabbing the knife by the handle instead of the blade. Never catch a falling knife. Instead, try to let it fall. This way, you also prevent yourself from being cut in case you accidentally grabbed the blade of the knife. This is also a good opportunity to ensure that you're wearing closed-toed shoes for added protection. And last and most importantly, take your time and pay attention while using knives. Today's webinar will be presented by myself alongside my colleague, Bo Lee. I've been with Univar Solutions for 1.5 years, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry as well as a diploma in culinary innovation and food technology. Prior to joining Univar Solutions, I have over 5 years of research and development experience. I'll lead you through the market trends and highlight key ingredients that Univar Solutions can support you with to better fuel your plant-based meat alternatives. My colleague, Bo Lee, will wrap up the webinar by showcasing how to create a plant-based meat alternative using key texturizing ingredients. Bo is also an application development specialist and has been with Univar Solutions for over 3 years. Bo holds a Bachelor of Science degree in agriculture chemistry and a master's degree in food science and human nutrition. Bo also has over 3 years of product development experience. Over the last few years, the vegan and vegetarian space has drastically evolved. Gone are the days when plant-based meals were exclusive to vegans and vegetarians. As consumers are looking for more opportunities to fuel their bodies with functional foods packed with nutrients, who once were carnivores are now classifying themselves as omnivores and flexitarians. So what does this mean for the plant-based space today? Oh, my slides got away from me. That seems to be the joys of technology and using your mouse to transition the slides forward. Apologies about that. But if we take a look at the plant-based meat market today, what we see for the now, the next, and beyond is that innovation will continue to accelerate. So where we are today, the meat alternatives are still finding their place in the homes of flexitarians. Although meat from animals still dominates, COVID-19 has really caused consumers to evaluate the foods they're fueling their bodies with, and they're looking to broaden their consumption of plant-based products. Over the next 2 years, we can expect plant-based meat substitutes to press ahead and become mainstream. Innovations will include novel product offerings that deliver exceptional value and taste, with a strong focus on sustainability. And if we take a look at the next 5 years and beyond, fermentation and cellular agriculture will become more viable options for proteins. This further adds to the consumers' and manufacturers' ability to mix and match protein source options. This can provide unique and novel solutions to improve texture, taste, nutrition, while focusing on a sustainable future. But avoiding animal foods altogether is not a priority compared to other healthy eating efforts. Rather, consumers will create a space for plant-based and animal-based products in their homes as they work towards eating healthier and capitalizing on essential nutrients like proteins, vitamins, and minerals. So if we take a look at the data from Mintel, what you can see is that in North America, 28% of consumers in Canada and 26% of consumers in the US buy products that contribute to their daily fruit and vegetable intake. Whereas 22% of consumers in Canada and 23% of consumers in the US buy products that have a source of vitamins and minerals. And not far behind, 20% of Canadian consumers and 30% of US consumers buy products that are high in protein. Now, if you look at the number of consumers that completely avoid animal-derived food ingredients, you'll notice that only 6% of North American consumers avoid animal-derived food ingredients altogether. In addition to purchasing exclusively plant-based meat alternatives or animal-based meat, hybrid options are becoming more appealing to consumers, provided they also deliver on nutrition by including a source of vegetables as well as vitamins and minerals. Now that you know how to position your products in the plant-based market, we'll switch gears to understand what it takes to develop high-quality plant-based meat alternatives. We'll delve deeper to understand what ingredients are essential to creating a succulent plant-based meat alternative, and then really zoom in at the formulation level to understand how to optimally use key texturizers to deliver an exceptionally crafted plant-based burger. Plant-based meat alternatives in the market are often based on a textured vegetable protein, like soy or pea, and are complemented with other functional ingredients to support key characteristics. So things like nutrition, texture, succulence, shelf life, and quality management are really the four main pillars of creating an exceptional plant-based meat alternative. And this includes choosing the right ingredients to enhance each of those four quality attributes. So if we take a look at the first important step in developing a plant-based meat alternative, it really comes down to choosing the right mix of proteins and other nutritional ingredients like vitamins and minerals. In North America, plant-based meat alternatives marketed as meat substitutes must meet the nutritional profiles of their traditional animal meat counterparts. So in this way, fortification is key. It's important to not only include good quality sources of protein with a high PD-Cas score, also known as the protein digestibility corrected amino acid score, but it's also important to fortify with essential vitamins and minerals. Although front-of-pack claims are optional, highlighting proteins that are included for quantity and quality, as well as how your product is fortified, can really help your product stand out in the retail space. So let's take a look at how we can support your product development needs when it comes to choosing the right proteins and fortifying with essential minerals. At Univar Solutions, we have a robust protein portfolio we can support you with for your product development needs in the plant-based meat alternative space. When choosing which proteins to work with, it's important to understand the type of texture, protein content, protein quality, and flavor profile you're looking to achieve. In many plant-based meat alternatives, textured plant proteins deliver a similar texture to that of traditional meat products. The type of texture achieved is influenced by the textured protein shape, size, and protein content. We offer pea and soy textured proteins in a variety of shapes, sizes, and protein content. When looking at which protein content best fits your needs, it's important to consider the textural and flavor attributes you're looking to target. For example, choosing a textured protein with a higher protein content would deliver a firmer texture, but could also contribute stronger flavors, such as more beaniness and bitterness. Complementary to our textured protein portfolio, we have a broad collection of protein powders that can deliver added nutrition, flavor, and color, and in some cases, contribute added functionality, like water binding and emulsification. For example, alfalfa juice concentrate powder, chlorella powder, and spirulina powder can be great contenders for a vegetable-focused plant-based meat alternative, where novel, nutrient-dense ingredients take a leading role. On the other hand, for a more unique flavor profile and color enhancement, using protein powders like sachet inchi protein or barley rice protein concentrate can further elevate plant-based meat alternatives by contributing smoky and malty notes, respectively. Lastly, integrating functional proteins with neutral flavor profiles like chickpea protein concentrate, pea protein isolate, and soy protein isolate with neutral flavor profiles can further enhance product uniformity. By contributing to water binding and emulsification properties, you can really play with the texturizing contributions that these proteins can contribute in addition to providing protein fortification. Within our textured soy protein portfolio, we offer Cargill's Prosante textured vegetable protein. Prosante is available in a flaked or minced format and in a variety of sizes, enabling unique textures and varying degrees of firmness that will enable you to create a variety of plant-based and plant-meat hybrid innovations. The minced format delivers a thicker, firmer texture and withstands intense processing conditions like high heat and pressure, working well in plant-based burger or in retort applications like crafting a vegan canned chili, for example. Whereas the flaked format offers a thinner, softer texture and is less process tolerant. This could be more suitable to mimic the texture of a more tender animal-based meat product, like chicken, for example. Flaked proteins are also often used to extend animal meat products in order to achieve more cost savings, or in the case of the flexitarian age, to create a plant-based meat hybrid. You can see the texture differences between minced and flake textured proteins in the picture on the right. In addition to different size options, both flaked and minced products are also available with fortification and added color to more closely resemble a traditional meat product. The picture of the textured proteins also shows the difference between a product that contains caramel color, shown in the minced textured protein picture, versus no color added, as shown in the flaked protein picture. So you can see the difference in darkness between the two versions. Creating a well-balanced, mineral-fortified plant-based meat product is easy, especially when using Young Bunzlauer specialty salts. These salts boast a high bioavailability and are easy to use. Including non-GMO options, we can support you with a variety of minerals in order to elevate the nutritional profile of your plant-based meat alternatives. Consumers are more likely to try new products with a great nutritional profile, but if the texture isn't there, you likely won't see repeat sales. Emulating the texture of traditional meat alternatives can be challenging, since plant proteins function much differently than animal-based proteins. By optimizing texture using ingredients like emulsifiers, hydrocolloids, starches, you can develop a product to have great firmness and elasticity, improved cohesiveness, better emulsification, as well as water binding capacity. In the end, a well-structured plant-based meat alternative will provide better product quality and reduced waste during large-scale manufacturing, a texture that better mimics the bite of animal-based meat products, an easy-to-handle product for at-home cooks, and a more succulent product that makes consumers come back for more. Key texturizing solutions in plant-based meat alternatives include ingredients like methicellulose, carrageenan, and starches. All three texturizing solutions contribute different benefits to plant-based meat alternatives. And I'll walk you through what some of those benefits are and what functionality you can expect to get from each of them. We partner with IFF for their cellulosics, and methicellulose is one of the main functional ingredients that you'll see on most plant-based meat alternative labels. Also known as modified cellulose, methicellulose works to optimally mimic the bite and succulence of meat through its emulsion gel technology. Not only will methicellulose help bind and hold all of the textured proteins and supporting ingredients together, but it will also deliver peace of mind with stability across a broad pH and temperature range. And this particular hydrocolloid and the emulsion system is something that my colleague Bo Lee will walk you through in more detail near the end of the webinar when we zoom in at the formulation level. For carrageenan, we partner with Gelymar at Univar Solutions, and they pride themselves in their broad portfolio of carrageenan products that are extracted from fresh red seaweed. Carrageenan can deliver improved sliceability and syneresis control, which allows you to formulate a broad range of plant-based meat alternatives. This can be from burgers to even deli-style meat. And carrageenan, essentially what it contributes to your plant-based meat alternative is improved process tolerance, as well as consistent quality over shelf life. Lastly, starches can really elevate the textural properties of your plant-based meat alternatives to deliver improved binding functionality, succulence, and a resilient bite. This impure range of functional native starches from Cargill have the same process tolerance as modified starches but fit within clean label positioning. This will allow manufacturers like yourselves to have peace of mind for consistent performance from concept to commercialization while meeting the demand from consumers for less processed foods. Plant-based proteins often differ from animal-based proteins uh, from the differences in their fat content and types of fat that are present. So in some cases, when you are creating a plant-based burger or meat alternative, you may notice that it's lacking in succulence and mouthfeel compared to a traditional animal-based meat product. By optimally using oils and fats, you can take texturizing to the next level. This enables you to create a plant-based meat alternative that more closely mimics the texture and mouthfeel of the traditional animal meat counterparts. Many plant-based meat alternatives in the market use healthy fats like canola oil or sunflower oil to give the product more lubricity, enhance the nutritional profile, and add flavor and mouthfeel back. Harder fats like coconut or palm oil-based fats are also used and can really elevate the consumer eating experience by further improving the texture, mouthfeel, and succulence. In addition, coconut and palm-based fats have similar melting profiles. So when it comes to better emulating the melting properties of their traditional animal fat counterparts, these are most similar and can go a long way to deliver on added succulence. When we talk about mimicking the appearance of ground animal-based meat products like a traditional ground meat, plant-based alternatives can actually use frozen coconut or palm fat pieces, add it to the plant-based analog mash essentially during the final mixing stage, and those bright white pieces of fat that are dispersed throughout will make your plant-based meat analog more closely resemble that of a traditional beef burger. So certainly some food for thought in terms of ways that you can play with different types of oils and fats. Shelf life and quality management is the last pillar when it comes to creating an exceptionally crafted plant-based meat alternative. Having an adequate formula to control microbial growth in refrigerated meat products is essential to maintain food safety. Using a combination of plant-based acidulants and preservatives is a great way to keep your labels clean while reducing microbial outgrowth over time. And last but not least, flavor management can be the key to delivering repeat sales and improve your overall market positioning. Natural antioxidants and flavor masking ingredients are a great way to add savory notes and improve the overall flavor profile by reducing beaniness and bitterness over your product shelf life. Due to the similar product characteristics between a plant-based meat and an animal-based meat product, so what I mean are things like pH and water activity, similar pathogenic microorganisms can be present in both product types. This graphic illustrates some of the common pathogenic microorganisms that could be present in both systems. And you'll notice in the graphic that a lot of the microorganisms listed are reciprocated on both sides. To help protect against microbial spoilage and maintain quality over shelf life, Univar Solutions is proud to partner with industry-leading suppliers for antimicrobial and antioxidant preservative needs. Corbion delivers antimicrobial solutions through their Verdad vinegars, ferments, and organic acid blends, along with their Purac lactic acid portfolio. Their range of natural preservatives effectively protect against lactic acid bacteria growth while meeting the consumer's demand to avoid synthetic additives. Using their natural solutions, and often a combination of them, you can effectively inhibit microbial growth throughout your product shelf life. Camo and Fine Sciences, on the other hand, offer a robust portfolio of natural antioxidants. Using a natural antioxidant like rosemary extract can not only protect against oxidation during refrigerated and frozen storage, but it can also contribute a savory flavor profile boost. And last, Young Bun Flour offers an added flavor enhancing solution to help mask off flavors sometimes present from pulse-based proteins. An effective chelator and pH buffer, sodium gluconate improves the flavor profile of plant-based burgers to reduce the bitterness and beaniness often perceived. In many cases, one ingredient won't fit all of your needs to protect your product shelf life and quality over time, but rather a combination of ingredients. And this is where Univar Solutions is happy to support you to identify the right combination of natural preservatives and flavor modifying ingredients to support your product development needs. Formulating delicious plant-based meat alternatives can certainly be challenging, but with the right ingredients in your toolkit, you can achieve a great tasting, well-textured plant-based meat alternative that hopefully makes your consumers come back for more. Now that you know what ingredients are essential to creating the best-in-class plant-based meat alternatives, I'll turn the webinar over to my colleague Bo Lee, and he'll walk you through how to create a plant-based meat analog using key texturizing ingredients.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, everyone. My name is Bo Lee, the Application Development Specialist for the Western region of North America. In this section, we will be discussing recipes and preparation methods for creation of the plant-based meat analog. Here is an example recipe of a spice mix that could be used as a base to create plant-based meat analogs. This dry blend is designed to be mixed with oil and water to make an emulsion, then combined with texture proteins and other ingredients to form a final mash. The usage level of the Wellens Vegiform methylcellulose is 13% in this blend, which will be converted to about 1% in the finished product. As Victoria mentioned, methylcellulose is a critical texturizer that helps create texture and mouthfeel for the plant-based meat analogs. And 1% is typically a good starting usage level for majority of the recipes. Of course, that could vary based on the specific needs for different recipes. Tapioca starch and maltodextrin are used in this recipe for binding and bulking. Multiple spices, yeast extract, and sea salt are combined to provide a decent level of savory flavor and saltiness to work with. Formulators can use this spice blend to build basic texture and flavor and evaluate to see if additional texturizers, flavors, colors, or other functional ingredients should be included to optimize any product attributes. To make an emulsion, first add 100 grams of oil into a bowl and slowly disperse 1 serving of the spice mix in the oil. It will form a slurry with mild stirring. And after all the powders are well dispersed in the slurry, then add about 350 grams of chilled water, and the temperature of the water must be lower than 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This is required to fully optimize the functionality of methylcellulose. Next, mix slurry for 2 to 5 minutes at a maximum speed until a spoonable paste of emulsion is formed, as the picture shows here. This processing method can make sure that the key ingredient, methylcellulose, is properly dispersed and hydrated. And a firmer emulsion could be created by refrigeration or adding more methylcellulose. It is recommended to use a firmer emulsion if extra strength of binding and gelling is preferred. The emulsion has high stability in different pH and temperature ranges, as well as stability for free-throw cycles. A strong gel structure will form once heated, and that can significantly help enhance the juicy and tender mouthfeel of the plant-based meat analogs. Texture proteins should be prehydrated separately before combining with the emulsion. Put roughly 500 grains of texture proteins in a bowl with water and that sit and hydrate for 20 minutes. Hydrated texture proteins would be elastic with high amount of water absorbed. Once complete hydration is reached, add the emulsion created from the spice mix, oil, and water and mix to form the final mash as the picture shows. Other ingredients could also be added at this stage to help improve texture, flavor, color, or nutrition as needed. The texture of the mash would be slightly firm but elastic with strong binding to hold all the dry ingredients, oil, and water together. This mash can easily be formed into the desired shapes and sizes, such as meatballs or burger patties. All the ingredient pieces are distributed homogeneously and not falling apart during storage and cooking. Most importantly, it is gelled to provide the firm texture and juicy bite once cooked and served on a plate. Univar Solutions can help you find the right ingredients to build your winning formulations. We are a one-stop shop for technical support and ingredient sourcing from concept to commercialization. Our brochures and recipe cards are designed for formulators to review ingredient options, functionalities, and starting usage rates. Please do not hesitate to contact our sales account managers and application development specialists for more information. I'm now handing the presentation back to Victoria to moderate the Q&A session.
Thank you, Bo, and thank you so much for sharing your expertise and walking us through how to create a plant-based meat analog burger. So at this time, we'll of course open up the Q&A period. As a reminder, you can submit your questions using the chat box feature. So just to go over how to do that one more time, you'll click the question box as indicated in the diagram. And then in the bottom, you'll see a square where you can type your question in. And after you submit your question, it'll only be the presenters, so Bo and myself, that can see the question, and the sender will remain anonymous to all of the other attendees. By all means, we're very excited to answer your questions today, and I do see that a few questions were submitted during the presentation, so I think we can take our first question. So Bo, the first question is, and thank you, Bo, for helping me answer these. What does PDCAS mean, and why is it important when choosing the proteins in plant-based meat analogs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Protein's composition of amino acids can vary greatly by protein sources. Not all the amino acids are readily digested and available for our bodies to use. PDCAS stands for Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score, and is one way to measure the nutritional quality of a protein or a combination of protein sources. PDCAS compares the amount of essential amino acids in a food to a reference score based on the essential amino acid requirements of a 2 to 5 year old child to determine its most limiting amino acid. And this approach is recommended by the FDA. Additionally, the protein's digestibility value is also taken into consideration when calculating the PDCAS. The final PDCAS value is calculated by multiplying the amino acid score times the protein digestibility value, which is usually expressed as a decimal or percentage. And the complete protein is represented by having a PDCAS score of 1.0. Some examples include casein, soy, whey, and egg.
Thank you, Bo. It sounds a lot more complicated than just plugging a protein in place. So certainly by understanding the quality of your protein, it's a great opportunity to capitalize on some of the front of pack claims that you can make. So moving on to question number 2, I see there's more questions starting to trickle in. How far in advance can you make the methicellulose emulsion?
Making the emulsion can sometimes seem like an extra and more complicated step in the manufacturing process to make a plant-based meat alternative. To improve the production efficiencies, the methicellulose emulsion can be scaled up and produced at the beginning of the production week. The emulsion should be covered and stored in the refrigerator for up to 5 to 7 days, but can be pulled from throughout the week and added to the plant-based meat analog products as required.
Wonderful. Thanks, Bo. So another question about methicellulose, it's a hot topic today. So is methicellulose thermally reversible? Would my plant-based meat alternative product fall apart after it's cooled?
The methicellulose emulsion technology can create a firm gel, and once that gel is created, it remains stable across pH and temperature changes, delivering exceptional product stability for peace of mind.
And then another question about methicellulose. It doesn't sound like a clean label ingredient. Is there another gum or another ingredient that would give the same functionality but with a better declaration?
Good question. Methicellulose is a unique hydrochloride that delivers the strong gel system needed at the right time under the required processing conditions. And because of its ability to form a strong, stable gel at 110 to 114 Fahrenheit, it not only binds the ingredients together, but also most closely mimics the texture and bite of a traditional animal-based burger. Other hydrochlorides in the market lack in functionality when it comes to finding a one-to-one replacement. It is still possible to replace methicellulose using a combination of alginate, carrageenan, fibers, or starches, but often you will see differences in firmness and mouthfeel. And as with every product, the texturizing system selected will depend on the type of plant-based meat analog you're looking to make, and your target texture, and whether you'll meet consumer acceptance.
Wonderful, thanks, Bo. And I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I do see that there's quite a few other questions coming in. We'll take one last question before we close the Q&A. And as a reminder, all of the questions that are submitted, we will get back to you if we don't answer them today. So the last question we have is, does it matter what protein source you use from a functionality perspective? So for example, would soy work better than pea or vice versa?
Choosing the best plant protein to work with in a meat analog depends on the type of meat you're looking to emulate, as well as the flavor and texture you're looking to target. In general, differences that influence the functionality of plant proteins include the plant protein type, for example, soy versus pea, plant crop origin, and protein content. As a rough guideline, texture proteins that have a higher protein content will generally deliver a firmer bite and more bitterness than a texture protein with a lower protein content. As well, these differences could also influence how well the protein interacts with and binds water. In some cases, you may need a robust hydrochloride system to achieve the the right product texture and succulence.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bo, for helping us answer some of the questions that came in. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for a question period today. And as I mentioned before, if we didn't get a chance to answer your question, we'll certainly follow up with you after the webinar. And so once again, thank you to everyone who attended the webinar today. A special thank you to Bo Lee for joining and really sharing how to create a plant-based meat analog using our texturizing solutions. It's great that he's had such good hands-on experience in developing those recipe prototypes. So if you're interested in any samples, if you have additional questions, even if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one session with one of our application development specialists, don't hesitate to reach out. You can do that a few different ways. So of course, feel free to contact your local account representative. You can contact our customer service team using the phone number shown on the slide. As well, you can visit our website using the QR code provided, and there it'll give you even more information about the innovations for the plant-based world. So thanks again. We appreciate all of your attention, and we look forward to having you join us for our next webinar about plant-based snacks on October 19th. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the day.